What is up? So I'm doing a video today that I meant to do last year, but never got around to it. And that is kind of going over one of the best purchases fishing wise that I think I ever did, which is this beautiful kayak right here. And I just kind of want to go through the ins and outs of it, why I think it's such a good beginner kayak and why I still use it, and kind of like the mods I've done and all that. So I've had this kayak for about 2 years. I actually bought it 2 years ago, 2 days ago was the 2-year anniversary that I bought this, at least on my Facebook memories. I bought this during a sale because it was springtime, and so they were having a sale at Dick's on a lot of their kayaks, and this one in particular caught my eye because it was the nicer one that was on a pretty good deal. I picked this up for $450. It was originally $600 or $550, I don't remember. It was about $100 off. And so I decided I really wanted a kayak. I kind of let go of my dream of buying, well, at least for now, of buying a bass boat, because it was a little more realistic to spend $450 on a kayak rather than kind of like $5 grand on a used bass boat from Craigslist. I'm really glad I went through with this purchase because I have used this thing a ton. I really mean that. I've taken it in rivers, I've taken it in creeks, lakes, ponds, you name it. I fished tournaments in it. I've caught small fish from bluegill and bass and trout to huge fish like the white sturgeon. My second time ever fishing for sturgeon was out of my kayak. And my first time was out of boat, and I 1,000 times recommend using a kayak over a boat because, first of all, it's a lot more personal and you get dragged around a river. He's taking me this way. It sounds kind of intimidating at first, but once you get in it and you kind of get control and know what you're doing, it's so much fun. Oh my God. And just picking up that big 4-foot fish out of the water, this big dinosaur right next to you. It's great. And hopefully one of these times I catch one almost as long as my kayak. So that's just kind of what I talk about. I want to talk about how versatile this thing is. Like I said, I fished tournaments in it. Kayak bass fishing is becoming a pretty big thing in the US and just kind of all over. KBF is the Kayak Bass Federation, and I fished tournaments last year with OKBF, which is the Oregon Kayak Bass Fishing Club, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it this year just because of money-wise, but I really enjoyed the experience. I almost placed third in one, but there's a service issue because all the, it's all measuring. Here, let me show you. So every catch that you make, you have to measure on this bump board here, and you take a picture of it and you upload it to the app, and it's all off of length. There's no weight, so you're keeping track of your length throughout the tournament. But if you don't have service and there's a end time to submit your catches, if you don't get there and because you have service problems or things aren't uploading, you're kind of screwed, and that's where I came in. I would have gotten third place, so it really sucked. But I've had a lot of good tournaments. It was a lot of fun. It's fun and new using one of these rather than like weighing in a sack of fish at the end when I've done other bass tournaments. I really liked kayak bass fishing more than just like clubs because it seemed like less competition in a way, but I don't know, I just like the community better. And I was in control of my boat, which I wasn't a co-angler, which was fine. I learned stuff, but I kind of like being in control and deciding where to go and where I want to fish, which was something that I didn't really get to do when I fished in clubs because I was new and younger and I was with a boater and they kind of got to choose where they wanted to go. Some of the guys would ask me where I wanted to go and I'd go pick out a point or two. But anyway, like I said, I just kind of want to talk about the versatility of it and kind of go through the ins and outs of this thing. Right now I have it pretty bare bones. I don't have my seat. I really don't have anything in it. But I've made a lot of mods, I've added a lot of things, and so I'll go through those. Well, number one thing is I recommend this kayak. If you want to get into kayak fishing, if you want to get into getting on the water rather than bank fishing, go with this kayak right here. This is from Dick's. It's a Field & String Eagle Talon 120. It's the little brother to the bigger version. I don't know what it's called, but that one's about 800 bucks. People think kayak fishing is cheaper, and it is, but you can also get really expensive. In my tournaments, I'm fishing against some people that have $4 to $5 grand kayaks, or $1 to $2 grand kayaks, and this thing is a quarter to half that price. And one guy I fished with, he had a kayak from Walmart, and he won one of the tournaments. So you can get a kayak that's meant for kayaking and fish out of it, but when you get a kayak that's meant for fishing, it caters more to storage and versatility, and just kind of being silent on the water also. And it has a lot of storage. A lot of the more expensive kayaks have a lot better storage, but that's what it's more like. If you go get a kayak that's just meant for kayaking, you're not going to have rod holders and extra places to put your stuff, which is why kayaks catered to fishing are better in my opinion. But if you want to go cheap, you can do that. You can get one of those and fish and catch as many fish as someone who has a $5,000 Hobie. With that being said, I'm just going to kind of go through each part of this kayak, and parts of it are a little dinged up. I have used it a lot, like I said. So I'm going to start at the front and kind of move my way down the kayak. Before I start, I am nowhere near a very experienced kayak angler. I just picked one up and I love it, and I want to kind of pass my beginner knowledge and experience in kayaks to whoever watches this. So, front of the kayak, we have our nice little tote handles right here. These guys, there's one in the front and one in the back. This makes it nice and easy to drag it around like I did in the beginning of the video, which I don't recommend dragging it on gravel, but like I said, I beat this thing up. Or just having someone help you carry it around. It's nice having handles on either side. Next part of the kayak is this right here. This is a nice little storage area. It's not my favorite. It's kind of built weird. Let's get this off completely. So it's got this lip right here that goes around this little groove, and in here, this goes all the way through the kayak, and you won't be able to see it. Here, I'll light it up real quick. So it goes all the way through the kayak like that. It's a decent little storage area. You have shoes or anything, they kind of tend to roll all the way to the back. So it's good for throwing like sweatshirts and whatnot in there, but water, as you can see, can get in there, and you just need to dry out, but sometimes your stuff can get wet. But if you're sitting up here and you're trying to get through this part, it's kind of a pain in the butt because this is not easy to get on and off. But it is tethered, which is nice, so that does not come off. So it's not my favorite storage system. Kind of wish they had like little latches right here that could just pop up like some of the natives and whatnot. Regardless, it's storage and it's there and it's helpful. And here we have the name of the kayak with the 0 missing. I can feel where it used to be. The next part I want to point out are these 4 little grooves right here, which are really nice. What I'm guessing, these are grooves for fishing poles, because that's what I put there when I lay them across my lap right here. I'll have part of the blanks sitting right up here. That way it's kind of nice place so they don't slide around a bunch. Right here we have our 2 foot pedals. These are, what do I say about these? These are pretty garbage. A lot of this kayak is really nice, and a lot of this kayak is pretty cheap. And this, unfortunately, is a pretty cheap piece. Right here, there's a little lever that lifts off of all these little square notches right here. So you lift that lever up, and the idea is to slide it. But see, there you go. See, it doesn't want to slide very well, and sometimes it doesn't always lock. And if you push in too hard against these, you can pop it right off. And then this track right here, you can see it's kind of bending on either side. It's just not, it's not the best built footholds, but they work. Then you got yourself a water bottle holder or whatever you want to put there. And there's also another piece right here. I will be right back and I'm gonna grab it. So right here goes this little piece right here, which is the holder for the rod holder. I did tape this down because it opens up right here. It folds back and I have a camera in here. But yeah, there's screws that go in, and this is this came with the kayak. I just don't use it much. And yeah, there's more grooves if I can get it to sit right. And it just sits in there. I personally don't like this for this reason. So you have your pole holder right here and you're sitting all the way back there. It's just, I'm also really short, but that's a good 1 to 2 feet from where you're sitting. So it's not super versatile when it comes to pole holding, but there are things you can do about that, which I will get to in just a sec. Next, we have a second cup holder, but what I did is I took a ram mount, and yeah, I got rained on a little bit, and I screwed this in right here, which is perfect because then I take my Ram X grip, shove that right on there, and I got my phone holder going right here, which is perfect for when I need to take pictures when I'm doing my tournaments. I can have my deeper sonar going on right here and I can watch that. Next are some more handles right here. These are nice for kind of, oops, pulling your kayak up or whatnot, but for carrying it, kayak kind of pinches your fingers, which doesn't feel great. Next is a mod that I absolutely freaking love, which is this Yak Attack gear rack right here. I think that's what it's called. I'm probably wrong. But this is perfect because I take this arm given to me by the Deeper company. So all I have to do is put that little nut up, put it right in the gear track like that, give it a couple twists, and then I attach my Deeper right here, bend that right into the water like that, and boom, portable fish finder. And that goes perfect with my phone right there, and I'm all set up for some fish finding. This next thing is a paddle leash. So your paddle sits right in this groove right here. I'll demonstrate on the other side. So the paddles I have are these guys right here. These are Carlisle. I really like these paddles. I've been using them for a while. They haven't broke, which is nice. They're about 70 bucks, a little spendy, but you're not gonna find a good pair of paddles for very cheap. So I would recommend going a little more expensive. Don't go too crazy. I also like the color. Looks pretty great and they work really well. Here's a little example of the leash. Paddle goes right there. Rope goes around that little screw. And there you go. You got your paddle all ready to go, and if you need to get it out, boom, nice and easy. The next piece that I had to put back in so they're not completely secured are the rod holders, which have this little rod leash that wraps around the rod and clips on right here. I will show you an example real quick what it looks like. Take your rod, pop her in there, take the leash, and go over. This is how I do it, over and under, and then clip it all right there. So if this ever falls out of the water, I mean, if this is secure, it'll hold it in. But yeah, it's just a nice way to kind of peace of mind so you don't lose your gear. Another thing I have done is I modded this thing right here. This is a piece of PVC piping with a GoPro handle that I just shoved right in there. And if you've seen my kayak sturgeon video, this is how I got my overhead view. And right here is this is where rope for anchor rope goes. I don't have my anchor attached right now. It's a bunch of rope that's all kind of messy. When you get the kayak, it actually comes with a 1.5 pound anchor. and a bunch of rope that goes on right here, this part, which is the anchor trolley, as it says right here. Anchor trolley with 1.5 pound anchor, because I haven't taken that sticker off apparently in 2 years. So you just kind of put your anchor rope and everything on here, and you can, if you have a bunch of extra rope, you put in there, and it keeps your anchor line tight to the ground. I was dumb, and I accidentally thought my anchor was tied on and it wasn't, and I went to throw it in the water and I just threw the whole anchor in the water. So what I use is just like 5-pound weights from Goodwill, like little dumbbell weights, and it works just fine. All right, next is these 4 holes right here, which I was like, why are there holes in the kayak? And that's to have excess water drain out, which makes a lot of sense. So these are the scupper holes, and for $7 online or at Dick's, I think you can buy these right here, which are called scupper plugs, and they simply just go right into there to kind of keep excess water out. That way your butt doesn't get wet. Yeah, these are nice and cheap and they're pretty helpful. This right here is the dry hatch, but unfortunately water does get in the kayak, so don't use this as a 100% dry hatch because it won't always keep everything dry. If you really want to keep your stuff dry, just buy a dry bag and you can save the worry. So this guy, it's this little turn to get it open. It's got a little net in it. See, that can sit right down in there, and sometimes water gets down in there. So if you're fishing and have this open, sometimes you'll unhook a fish and it will flop off and the dorsal fin spines will get nice and stuck in here. Here's a little clip of me dropping a smallmouth in there. Nope. Get out of Get out of my dry box. So that happened a few times. It kind of gets a little frustrating. So try to keep it closed when you can, but it's a nice little hatch to store like your phone or wallet, or a permit for a kayak and whatnot. So this, one of the number one things I recommend replacing when you get this kayak is the seat. The seat that comes with it is absolute garbage. It is thin and it is floppy and it gets wet and it just sucks. Spending about 6 hours on a kayak with a crappy seat will make your back and your butt hurt real bad. So investing in a $30 to even $100 seat is well worth the money. If you're gonna mod one thing, do that. I'll show you the seat right now that I put in here, and I can fish tournaments and not be uncomfortable. So this right here is the seat that I use. It is a Ascend seat. It sits off the bottom so it doesn't get my butt all soaked from the scupper holes. It doesn't attach. I mean, you can do anchor points to right here, and I did, but I took them out because it's not 100% necessary in my opinion. As long as you're not flipping your kayak, this will stay in. Ugh. So like I said, it's a lot more comfortable. I can fish full tournaments. You can just lean. Oh, you can lean back. I mean, it does kind of move. With your body weight, you don't necessarily need to anchor it down. Just don't flip your kayak and you'll be good. But yeah, without this seat, I would have never even thought about fishing tournaments out of a kayak. This is an absolute lifesaver. I think it was like 30 bucks or something. It was nice and cheap. So it's an Ascend. I don't exactly remember the brand, or not the brand, but the name of the seat. But just look online, you can find a seat. There's so many forums for this kayak of people modding it out and stuff. It's ridiculous because it comes pretty bare bones and pretty kind of crappy basic items that they throw in, like the seat. And so it's nice and easy just to kind of replace. That's what these front anchors right here were for, the seat that came in it, but I obviously had to take it out. But yeah, nice cozy. You can sit back and relax, fish, or you can sit up and you can just take the seat off and put it away once it's done. You don't have to worry about like a big seat attached, which is nice because when I throw this on the top of my Xterra, I don't need something that's gonna get squished up against my bars on top of my car. All right, the next piece is another great storage item, which is this little slot. This will fit about 3, I think these are size 500 tackle boxes. So that just goes back there. That holds that, which is really nice. I put my dry bag in here with my camera stuff, and then I set these on top. So it's a nice little, you can just reach back. Also with the seat, you can slide your boxes under your seat, which is also really nice. So this next piece is a really awesome storage area. It comes with a net that has anchors on each of these sides, which the net pulls over whatever you have back there. I usually sit my tackle bag or a sweatshirt, just a backpack back there. But I actually did mod this out, and I'll show you what I did. Okay, so what I did to kind of mod out this storage area is I took a milk crate, because it didn't fit originally. It wasn't, the corners wouldn't fit. So I took a Sawzall and I shaved off those corners right there. I don't know if you can see that. So that way when I set this in the back, these corners don't get in the way and it sticks right in there. And the other handy little thing I did was I went and grabbed a bunch of bungee cords from Walmart. It's these little orange ones right here. So what I do is just take one of the bungee cords, I run it through the hole, latch it on one of these little edges right here, run around where the net used to go, and run it right back there. So it's just a nice tight. So if I have 4 going, this thing is not going anywhere. And I can fit about 5 or 6 tackle boxes. I can fit a bunch of plastics and drinks and food and all sorts of stuff back here. And I still have a little space right back in here for whatever else I need. So that's basically the full rundown of my Eagle Talon 120. It's an amazing little kayak. It's a great beginner kayak. It's a very nice kayak to take on mods. You can mod it out a ton. You can add little things. It's bare bones with the way it comes, so there's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot of things you can add to it, and it's kind of amazing how much you can add. You could see some videos on YouTube of people who've done some crazy stuff. I've done just kind of basic things, and I still love it. So one more time, I'm just gonna go over the mods. I have the ram mount with the X grip for my deeper. I have the Yak Attack gear rack for the actual deeper and the arm. I can also if I want to, add a rod holder, or just kind of like I can add another one of these on the other side and have a paddle holder, anything like that. I use this for a GoPro mount. I've modded a milk crate to fit back here. And that kind of sums up what I've done. So before I end this video, I'm just gonna go over the full specs of this whole thing. So the name of the kayak is the Eagle Talon 120. It's by Field & Stream. I got it at Dick's for about $450. I think it retails at $550 normally, but it's just about spring. Spawn season's coming up. It's a really good kayak for bed fishing. I feel like the only thing I don't like about it that I forgot to mention is it's not super balanced for standing. So if you want a kayak that you want to stand in, this might not be it. You can stand on it, but it's a little scary, and just in case you don't want to flip it. But if you just want a beginner kayak and you want to get around, go, just 100% grab it. It's amazing beginner kayak. But yeah, like I said, it's at Dick's for about $550 normally. It should be on sale right now. The kayak is about 12 feet long. It's not super long. It's not a 15-footer. It's not a 10-footer. It's not too short. It's about 12. It's good in the middle. It fits perfectly on top of my Xterra. I use these little straps from Cabela's that I just strap right on top of my roof rack on my Xterra. You can get ratchet straps or anything like that. It goes on just perfectly. It weighs about 75 pounds, so if you are alone, it's not a terrible weight to kind of trek along by yourself. I can carry it on my own, and I'm a pretty small person. You can get a kayak cart. I made one. I'm uploading a video soon on actually how to make a kayak cart out of PVC, and you can just use that to kind of tote it around. It's got a bunch of storage. It's got good tracks. It's not a super fast kayak. It tracks in the water pretty well. It gets you around. You might get a little tired. It is on the slower side. It's not an ocean kayak or anything like that, but it does track pretty well. But besides that, I definitely recommend this kayak. It is a great beginner kayak. There's a lot of things you can do about it to add mods. You can just use it as is. I used it for a year as is, and it was amazing. The only reason I kind of buffed it out, it made it better, is because I started fishing tournaments out of it. And if you're gonna fish tournaments out of it, I definitely recommend changing the storage, adding certain things to kind of make it a little easier on you on the water, because some things are harder to get to. Just the number one thing I recommend replacing that I absolutely wish I did right off the bat is a new seat. Don't wait on it. Get a new seat. It will save you a lot of pain. You can spend a lot more time on the water, and it's just overall a lot more enjoyable experience when you can sit for more than 3 hours without your back killing. So if you've ever tried this kayak, if you like this review and think it's something you want to go grab, if you have any questions about it, just feel free to leave me a comment. I'll reply, or message me on Instagram or whatever. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching. I'm glad to be back. And with that being said, I hope to catch you and some fish in my next video, and hopefully displaying this guy right here. Peace.